It was an excellent assumption. That's quite a lot. It's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. G'day, it's Jason here from In Search of Australia. I returned to Tuena this time to test viewer suggestions, as when I was here last time I did get a little bit of gold, but nothing really worthwhile. So it's going to be a bit of a trade-off as to whether I look for shallow flood gold or deeper gold on a clay layer. Let's see how we go. As I said last time, and I'll say it again, this is a very, very pretty river. Holes like this one suggest that someone's attempted here but didn't pursue it, because I would say that's just a couple of shovels full that has been taken from there. There's a very large submerged rock here in the middle of the river with some larger boulders collected on the other side of it, so I might try up against it. I get the feeling that one might have been dug at quite often though. And although this is in our main channel, you can see a large crevice with boulders in there. I'm going to give this a try as well. Final spots here where the trees have all piled up. This should have caused a bit of a low pressure point, and you can see a lot of gravel has dropped here. If there's flood gold, it should be fairly shallow. So I'll do a few little quick test pans of sections of this, just to see if there is a concentrated area. But it'll be harder to work out exactly where to go. I can see there's a bit of a pile up of larger gravel or larger rocks over here. Very flat though. But up here, unless it's actually from people moving things, these are much larger and rounder, so maybe something here. So this is the test pan from that submerged rock. Okay, probably close enough just to see. Not a thing. It's, I wouldn't even call it black sand. Oh, I guess yeah, there's a little bit of black sand, but I'm guessing that crevice area, or the other side of that submerged boulder, has been dug up quite a bit. So all I'm getting is wash in from low currents. So, oh, we'll try another spot. So I've just dug to the right of the pan there, and to show you where this comes from, you'll see up there is the bend in the river. There's that grassy bank, and then these gravel that have just started to form down here. So I'm actually going to work my way along this I'll try further back along here and up that way and see which one gives the most, because in my initial half a pan I got about 4 specks of gold. Correction, it's about 6 or 7 specks of gold from here. So what I thought was a large flat rock keeps going down and across. It reappears here. Looks like there's a bit of a crevice there. I think this is why I'm getting the gold. I've just dug on the downriver end of this really large piece of rock. I don't know if it's bedrock yet, but that's an extremely good sign. Ladies and gentlemen, please excuse this interruption to the main feature for a Vevor Sluice review. I just got a Vevor 50-inch sluice. As you can see here, it folds away. So it's a few bits and pieces you need to set it up, which is probably one of the negatives of it, but it's much larger than my gold rat. So we'll look at the gold rat as well. This has multiple components. Once you've unfolded it, you've got to loosen this bit, and there's some washers in here. Put that on. Lift the riffles and the miner's moss. And what I'm doing is tightening down the folds so that it's stiff. Well, that one's loose. Loosen this one as well. Lots of pieces to lose. One of the drawbacks of this. They seem to self-tighten quite easily, which is good. Put these riffles back on. I'm really looking forward to using this for gems. I should say I'm looking forward to using this for gems. We tighten this on. Yep, they're self-tightening. Now we've just got to add the feeder. I'm going to leave the plastic on for the moment. Now you can see, I should pull it out. Not sure if that's on the camera. I'll angle it. There's like a little L shape, which means you can tilt the feeder if you need to. The instructions say to have this level or a maximum of 2 inches up the top end. So interested to see how this works, because I can't see any way of this tightening. It's like I needed those washers here. Interesting. Well, that's a problem. I haven't lost anything, I just don't have it.
So 2 wing nuts were missing from the kit, and I happened to just have a few wing nuts left as spares for the gold rat. So I went and got those, and fortunately they fit.
So the final part is to tighten this. This is where it folds up, but we now need it to be flat. It's a lot of setup, that's for sure. Didn't really fit that well. I'm sure once you've done this a few times, it's quicker. That's good. It's just a bit loose still. There we go. So a larger feeder, you have to tighten these nuts in. There's the initial indicator riffles. Then you have blue carpet, miner's moss, a mesh, and then metal riffles. A quick comparison, gold rat much easier to set up. It's just that one little riffle there to hold down the mat. Much smaller though, and you can't fold it up. The other thing is I do have to categorize my gravel a lot more before I put it in here, because larger stones just get caught and stop the gold rat working. The Vevor Sluice, sort of, I guess, more portable because you can fold it, but it's much larger, much harder to set up. That took a good 15 minutes. It was the first time I'd done it, so I was working things out. It was missing some wing nuts. Fortunately, I had a few spares for the gold rat. Now I've just got to set it up to direct the water into there. One of the issues with the gold rat is it really does hold on to some of the rocks and it blocks the little coils. So you do need to categorize it far more than putting it in the Vevor Sluice. How embarrassing. I just realized I've been wandering around unbuckled, at least this seat belt. Oh well. So I panned the bottom of the bucket and got some larger specks there. It's hard to tell where they came from because as you dig out the gravel into the sluices, it sort of stirs up the bucket and probably sends a lot of the heavier gold to the bottom. Still a lot less than what I started. So I kept going deeper and deeper, but the test pan's got less gold. So to just change tact slightly, I'm going to take about the top, or 15 centimeters, I think that's how far I went down the first pan, from around this area, and just test pan as I go. And we'll see how deep you need to go, or whether it's the fact that I was behind this, what I think is probably bedrock, why I got that initial spec count. Okay, this is starting to substantiate the theory that we're looking at mostly flood gold and it's not far under the surface. Getting lots of black sand there, and this was one pan. So this is from a shallow bit just next to that, what I assume is bedrock. Just to be a fair test, I'm going to do another test pan from the deepest part of the hole that I've got there. So we can see whether the gold is still on the surface or I've just missed this deep gold and it's still in the sieve. Yeah, I've struck the silt again. So I think that's as deep as I should go. Get around the edges. Go pan it. So this is from the deeper hole, using the yabby pump and just shoveling a bit. I didn't do a lot. And I can already see some gold appearing. I'm just going to get rid of some water. There's a few specks up around there. It's only about 4 or 5, so about the same, which suggests that the gold's through the whole area. It's very much like O'Allen, I think. Just starting again at the surface of the river, down into the edge of that rock. Quite a few more specks again. So at the moment I've just been concentrating around what looks like bedrock. I can't be sure because I haven't really dug right around it, but it's quite big. And I keep getting specks of gold near the surface. It still continues as you go deeper, but there just seems to be a lot more about 10 centimeters, 15 centimeters under the surface. So I'm going to keep working that area and just see how much gold I can get. So I gave a little test of this low pressure area where a lot of boulders and things have rested. I'm just testing a theory that it might be a bit like O'Allen. However, when I panned this, I got two tiny specks of gold. There might be more deeper if I keep going into there, but it's definitely not like O'Allen, where if I'd dug up that, I would have had 4 or 5 minimum, and just about everywhere. The little specks of gold have shown up here. These are a bit larger than what I've been getting in the pan. At least I know the sieve works. I'll put a bit more material through because it hasn't really filled out. Let's see how we go. Don't want to lose any more of these. Now, I'm not really sure how clean you can get these or what you need to do to clean them properly. I can still see little stones in there, but I guess if there's any fine gold, I've got it. So this is the takings from around that bedrock. I've cleaned out the sluice. Still nothing to write home about, but much better than when I was last here. So I ran into a local who, in his words, said came here for 3 days and ended up here for years. He actually made the V that was seen in my last video here, where he'd set up his sluice. But he gave me some hints to come down around the corner, back downstream to where they'd been excavating an old crossing. So I'm going to try just panning. This is going to be one of those really basic attempts rather than pull all the sluices out and things. I've just got to find this crossing. So I'm looking at how the river's been split. We've got all these trees there and a really slow, almost pond-like area to the right. The river comes down on the left there, and these areas converge to create this gravel bed there. I'm just wondering if anything's been dropped at the end here. I can see some rather large boulders and things on the other side of the tree just here, and a few down here. So I'm going to give that a go, because I've tried a few crevices, but it looks like this place is done over just as much as over the other area near the campground. So there's about 4 specks. Just from a very shallow dig there. There's actually a lot of gravel stopping your dig down. And I just did a little bit under that quartz there. Lifted it back and dug that up. So I might go for a bit more. Sorry, that was out of focus. So those 4 specks came from a combination of a very shallow dig just here and a little bit from under that quartz rock you can see just to the left of the shovel. And that's right down the end of the intersection. So you can see the running water over there. All the larger boulders and things here, and running on the right here. So I'm going on the theory that the quartz rock was where I got the gold. So I've now dug out even more from underneath that area. It started going a bit grey too, so I'm hoping there's going to be even more gold down. Beauty of waders. It was an excellent assumption. That's quite a lot. It's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Maybe some more hidden under the black sand there. So the further I went in towards the tree, the speck count lowered. So I came back outwards and it lifted again. So there's the final cleanup. It really helped doing that little junction at the end. I think per pan it was actually pulling more gold than what was sluiced out of 2 buckets, but it is a combination of both that got this amount. I will be back to Tuena Creek. It seems to be every time I go somewhere, again, I learn something new and I get more. So what we can conclude for Tuena is it is generally flood gold, so you don't have to dig too deep. I did come across that yellow clayey level and that seemed to be where I got a little more gold, but it wasn't really obvious. I got a lot out of the grey gravel at this junction at the end, so I think you've just got to follow the general rules of looking for gold, find those spots that haven't been touched, because I did come across a lot that had nothing and I feel like it was more because people had already been there. So I hope you enjoyed this one and I'll see you in the next one, which this time will be Urella. See ya.